Hi and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147. Happy 4th of July, everybody. I hope you are ready for the next stage. I know I am. I am absolutely loving doing this painting. Absolutely loving it. I do need to have a little mini rearrange of my tray towers as I go along, and today we are actually connecting already. It feels super quick. This is where I need to zoom in. There we go. Make sure I remember which bit I'm zooming into. But yeah, we're working on this. I'm not seeing any ABs. No, I am. I'm seeing one AB. And this is where these trays are coming really handy. And I'm not going to pull out my AB pen. I've just used, this is a pen that was gifted to me by Diana. But what I've done is when I've picked it up, I've more used the edge of the pen. So I'm lightly picking it up rather than going full on for it to potentially have been able to pull at it. So yeah, I find that's a little bit easier. So we're going to work on the borders next. I am going to bob some more in here. 3857. It is one that I have loads of because it is used for a lot of the borders. So let's get out the bottom of the first bottle. Now the first bottle wasn't full, so we've not got to day 4 and gone through something that was really full. Though I will say, with those static diamonds, they all want to stay clustered. Can you see them all? That is the static. They don't want to move. Anyway, we shall plod on. We will just pull diamonds from here, there and everywhere around everything rather than straight on. But I'm going to use my multi-placer again because I can, and because these big long straight vertical lines just shout at me to pull it out. It's like, oh yes, I can use that. I can do the pretties. And every now and then I'm getting hold of 5, which on some of these is really helpful. Just because those have all clustered up there, it's a little bit harder to get hold of the likes of 3s and 2s because it's sort of, it's not giving me the top section. So I'm just going to grab a load from sort of in the middle. You see that I'm just going in the middle. I'm basically just ignoring. That's why I've got loads of gaps now. I am just ignoring that little static cluster, which will be perfectly fine when it comes to single placing, and they will eventually settle themselves down, but for now they've not. I managed to pick up 5, not 4, so I've just moved to another section. But I think because it's doing this, I am going to stick with the likes of 5s and 4s multi-placing, and then I'll see what it's like. And if they won't straighten up in my tray again due to the static, I'll do my columns of 2s and 3s and stuff with the single placer, because then I can manipulate them a little bit better. But I hope everybody is having a wonderful day and getting everything done that they want to get done. I saw a 3. There it is. Oh, there's another one. I just got 3s from the top, and now I'm going to try tapping the side of my tray against my hand. Sometimes that can help dislodge some of the stubborn ones, and then I tap the top of my tray for them to move down. Some of them are moving down, some of them don't want to move down, And again, that's the static. So I've taken them out of a plastic pot and put them on a plastic tray, and they're screaming. Don't know if you can hear them, but I can hear them. They're screaming. Too much static. We don't like it. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine and dandy. So they are more spread out though, so I can get a couple of these smaller parts. Make sure my putty is all tucked in. A couple of 3s that I've seen. And then a few 2s. And then I'll go back through and do my single ones. Okay, comments, etc. So, Nalia, now we are getting to the fact where comments are now mixed between my Sunday whip and waffle and my Thursday whip and waffle. So if you have left comments on one or the other of those videos, we're now getting into a mixed bag. But she says, hi Rebecca, so it's my first time commenting on your channel. Well, hello and welcome. Love your comments. Haven't read it yet, but love your comments. She says she does have a question. She says, what is the biggest diamond painting that you've done? She also says it makes her so happy when she sees my videos post, and then when she gets to watch them too. Oh, thank you. My biggest one, quite easily, hands down, is my Heaven and Earth design painting. So it was only 40 centimetres across, width-wise, which is probably about what this is. Let me just have a quick look at the bottom. It's tucked. Yeah, so this is actually 42 centimetres across. So it's a little bit smaller than this across at 40 centimetres. However, it was 2.5 metres tall. I do have a video. It is completed. So it is my largest ever completed diamond painting. I did have a couple of periods of not working on it very much, so a little bit of inactivity, but it was done over the course of 4 years. So it definitely took a while to get completed. I took my sweet time at points with getting it done. But yeah, that is by far my biggest diamond painting completed to date. Other than that, I have done quite a few large ones. I do love the large and, should we say, skinny ones. The ones that are big but skinny. I did Minions from Diamond Art Club. That was a really long one. Again, not so wide. It fit quite nice on my easel, but really, really long. But then I have done quite a few diamond paintings that are, 90 by 80, things like that, I think. I think that's what they worked out at. So still very, very chunky, should we say. Right, the other colour on here we haven't done yet. So this is going in a very old stock colour tray. This was a 4Kids tray, and I want 938. So we obviously have shading within the lines that get added on here, which is quite nice. We do have quite a few horizontal lines, but we don't have many vertical. So let's crack out my 4-placer to do some of these vertical lines, and then I still single place my horizontal, because confidence is building, but it's not fully there yet. So even after years of diamond painting, even after doing a diamond painting that is 2.5 meters long, I am still learning when it comes to multi-placing because I'd just always been a single placer. I just never even bothered particularly trying. It's actually the zesties that got me to the point of trying multi-placing again. I always felt it was a little bit cheating. Not that anybody else was cheating with it, but that I was cheating by doing it. But I actually find now, I suppose maybe, you know, you have to rethink once you start doing something rather than beating yourself up for cheating all the time. I still feel a little bit that way sometimes. Oh, I've missed two. But then other times I'm like, do you know what? No, it's just, I'm still placing all the diamonds. I'm just doing it a little bit quicker. And especially when I'm working on large paintings, or because I've been a lot shorter on time to diamond paint recently, which always happens in the summer, I will say. Days where it's light is longer, so I settle down to diamond paint a lot later. Or sometimes I've done so much because I've been fitting everything in while it's been daylight, I just don't have the energy to diamond paint the same once, you know, I realise it's settled down time. And then, yeah, so now I just find that it's sort of allowing me to free up that time and not feel as guilty about that time, maybe. Let's say, maybe I'm just making excuses for myself, but I'm allowed. Right. Linda, she says, clothes maven is how we sometimes say it in New York City. Oh, I've not heard of clothes maven before. I like it though. I like how many different names you can have for one object. It always surprises me and excites me as to how many different names you can have for something. Makes the world more fun, does it not? It also makes listening to the likes of international YouTube videos or chatting with people from other countries, it makes it a lot more interesting when words are said differently between people. So I'm slowly just working through here now, working across this sort of bottom, and I will be paying a bit of attention to the top in a bit, but I'm loving it when I only have like 3 diamonds to place and things, to be able to just grab a tray that's already got diamonds in it and just place the diamonds down and put it down. And I will say I did not get anywhere near as frustrated as I normally do when I miss diamonds as I did when I missed those 2 up there. Do let me know, Kim, if you felt the same. Kim always seems to spot the diamonds that I miss. But knowing that I wasn't having to open up the pot again to get at them has just made it so much easier. Grey Legrand, she says, hi Rebecca, she says, you are crushing it with that 4-placer. Thank you. Yeah, I do feel like I am on a little bit more of a roll with it. Now, whether it's just because I have practiced more with the excitement of it being new and shiny and a gift, has probably helped in relation to that. It's definitely made it a little bit more fun to sort of do, rather than me having to think, okay, have I got the mental space to, you know, practice with my 4-placer, that maybe I'd have to think to myself on any other day. But it has also made me think, putting the putty in this placer and making sure I trimmed it so that it wasn't overhanging the 4-placer itself, though it does occasionally push out and I do need to push it back in. It is not very often, and I think when I've been loading my 4-placer, my standard metal 4-placer, I think I've just not been paying attention enough to how I load it. So making sure that when I do load the four placer, I do trim off any excess and don't overfill it. So it will be interesting when I do grab a pen that already has a four placer in it, and I decide to use, you know, the standard, should I say, or the cheaper, more budget version of a four placer. It will be handy to see if I put the putty in correctly, and just make sure that it is within the placer, whether I'll actually have a better time of it. And I think I probably will, because that's one thing that I was doing quite a lot with the other four placer, is I was pushing the putty back into place. It feels like it was more often than I'm doing it with this one. And that may be that I have just overfilled it, which is probably, let's say, my bad. And maybe I'll be able to fix that for the future. Right, that one is done. Then I want the X, which means I need to go over here. I am going to do some multi-placing, which is why I'm sort of lining up my drills again. When I have had a tray that I've done multi-placing on the past and put it away, I don't sort of neaten up my diamonds again. So I'm just doing that on this one. Grey Legrand also says, she says laser hair removal, question mark. She said she would love to not have to shave again. Yes, it is something I have. Apparently, it's a lot more common in Australia. So my daughter did say, she says there's loads of places in Australia that you can get it done, which I get. They have a lot nicer weather than we do here in the UK. So I can understand that for women, having your legs shaved to be able to wear, you know, the shorts and the dresses that are a lot more common. It's a bigger deal. It's a bigger deal for the Australians, I totally get. But in the UK, it is something I have heard of before, but it's something that I've never actually sort of sought out or gone to do. Partly just because of the cost and, you know, bringing up kids and everything that they need coming first and all that kit and caboodle. But yeah, there is somebody that my husband knows, a friend of a friend type thing. She started sort of a business doing it and had been going for a bit. And I've been meaning to get in touch with her for a while. But yeah, one evening I finally did. It's one of those. Once I finally do and the first appointment is booked, then that's it then. I'm fine. Like I will book the next appointment. When I leave, I will go. Everything will get done. But making that initial contact and getting that initial appointment started is the hardest part. But yeah, I've been twice now. I think there's about 6 sessions in total. And yeah, it seems, even though I wasn't supposed to necessarily see results yet, or full results yet, until sort of after your 3rd visit, I have seen signs of hair removal. So there are sections on my legs that do not look like a monster when I haven't shaved. So I'm very optimistic that it is something that will work for me. I do have very, very dark hairs on my legs. It works better with dark hairs. So it isn't something that works necessarily for everybody. But for a change, it's something that does actually work for me. So here's to, you know, next summer when maybe we do have a summer where I can just pop a dress on or pop shorts on without having to plan it out the night before. Which is the sort of stuff that us women have to do at the moment. Denise, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, her sincere apologies for misunderstanding about my blog/log of the Advent items. She did wonder, she says, as she listened several times to my comment and thought, okay, that's what you were doing. She said she was obviously having a senior moment and heard what she wanted to hear. She said she's sorry if she misled or caused confusion to your other viewers. You don't need to apologise at all, Denise. It very well, if I can get my words out, may be that the words I said to describe, oh, new colour. Let me just get 718. It very may well be that the words I used could be taken either way. So I do appreciate the fact that you mentioned it in a comment, because if somebody else did also hear it in the same way as you, because I don't think it was a senior moment, then I've been able to clarify it for both of you. But for anybody that's not listened to the regular waffles or not listened to my channel for a while, we release an advent calendar we have an advent calendar for December for people to be able to open a gift a day for Christmas. It is primarily diamond painting related, but we have a few other things in there just to vary things up, because we like to make sure that they're different each year, because we have a lot of repeat purchases. But this year I am doing a blog. The blog will just release each day, so the 1st of December one will release, then the 2nd, etc. Just explaining our thoughts behind the Advent items. Sometimes some of the items we have put in have caused a little bit of confusion until explained. Our little jar from last year was the big one. So I did have a couple of emails asking if we had lost a piece of machinery or not, but that was what was in the Advent, and that is for actually breaking up stuck together drills. So this year I thought, let's do a blog style post so that people can either watch my videos where I open one of the items per day and I discuss it, or they can read about it, whichever way works for them, because it may well be that people actually listen to my December Advent but then want to reference part of it maybe a few days later or later on down the line, and they're like, oh, what was it she said? And it's easier to go to the blog than to necessarily find that part in my video again. So but yeah, if anybody, when the Advent does come out, which is not yet, it will not be before the 1st of July, because we have our business end of year. But yeah, when it does come out, if somebody does want to know the items that are in there before purchase, because I understand that too, then you can email and I will give like a written breakdown of what's in the Advent so that you can decide if it is within your budget. And yeah, but I'm glad I did have the chance to clear that up, so it is appreciated. Right, what am I on? E. Okay. I forgot what colour I was doing, even though it was in my hand. That's why the label on the side is very handy. Mrs. Joe Violet, she said, hi Rebecca. She says she hopes I'm well and she really enjoys my whip and waffles. Thank you, Joe. She says she loves dogs. She says she has a Rottweiler named Tessie. She is only a year old, she says, but she is an absolute joy. Excuse me. I must have drank my last drink a little bit too quick. Oh, hang on. New colour, 3865. At least that's an easy colour to know if it's wrong when I look at it, because it's white. I don't know whether I should have tipped all of those in, but I've done it now. Just getting the last couple of static ones out. Yeah, so she says she's only a year old, but an absolute joy. She doesn't bark much. She says, but we trained her that when she does bark and we say enough, she immediately stops. I would love to be able to train Luna to do that. But unfortunately, she chooses when she wants to listen and when she doesn't want to listen. She says she can't wait for June Waffle. She thinks she'll work on Fox Lady from Diamond Art Club, but she's not kitted it up yet. She said, so that may change. You have the right to change your mind as many times as you wish. But I do hope if you've sort of started that you're at least doing something, even if you change your mind partway through the month. I hope you're at least still taking your time. Grey Legrand, she says she recently revamped her storage. One of my favourite things to do. When it's not working for me, it's one of my favourite things to do. When my storage is working for me, I love leaving it like it is. But she said she did it in stages. So first she cut all her cardstock for her spare storage. Then she printed and applied the labels onto said cardstock. Then she put her stickers on the bags, the 4mm baggies. Then she cut the foam board insert to fit in her boxes. That's one of the worst parts, is cutting the foam. And lastly, she transferred all her diamonds into the new storage. I keep pulling out 2 and not like 3 or 4 that I want. That's why I keep moving from up to bottom, is however many diamonds I managed to pick up. She said doing it in stages, she felt seemed to go faster and was less chaotic. It's so much better now, she says, and it makes kitting down so much faster. Well, that's awesome. I tend to do things like that in sort of stages, like you're setting up a production line, sort of. It's like when I prep stuff for the shop, like cover paper and things like that. I do things in stages, and sometimes if I've got something that is like quite a big prep job that I need to do, or maybe one of my not so favourite prep jobs to do, I break it down into stages. Like, it might not be stages that take a long time, it's just the thought of all the stages together makes me not want to do it. So I quite often, when it comes to that, I will say I will do it in stages. So maybe we'll use cover paper as an example, though I actually find that quite therapeutic. But when I need like a really big restock of cover paper, of all sorts of different types of it, it can sometimes be quite a lot. I did quite a lot the other week, prepping for my first bit of prep for launch and restocks and things all at the same time. And the first day I just printed. That's all I did. Worked out what I needed, printed, popped it in a pile, and that was it. And then it was the next few days was spent just trimming all the sort of non-printed on edges. So trimming it down so it was a sheet in the size that we need. And then when I go to the final stage of trimming it to this size and putting it in packages, I tend to do these together. So like, I don't cut them all to this size and then just leave them in a pile. I actually find the cutting it down and then putting it together in the bag and popping the label on, like, because it's the last bit, then I get my satisfaction from going, that's complete. And then I go, that's complete. I get to keep doing that as I go along. But yeah, there are some tasks that sort of need doing that are a bit daunting. In fact, one of the Advent items, just doing one of them, perfectly fine. But the amount that we make for Advent, the numbers that we do, has got extremely high. So I just broke it down into a reasonable amount per day. I think, did I do 25 or 50 a day? And it took me a few weeks. It took me a few weeks to get them all done. But doing that amount per day was okay. And yeah, by the time it was done, it was like, I did actually manage to complete that. It wasn't so bad. And it's because I wasn't seeing the job as a whole. I was seeing it as itty bitty bits. So yeah, I like doing it that way, because then I feel like, I say, you've got it finished. Whereas, I mean, for some people, they do prefer the idea of doing it as and when they dekit, that it makes their dekitting a little bit longer. But then it's, when will it be finished? I suppose you will get to a point at some point where you're like, I'm just going to put the stickers on the rest of the cards because I've got so many of the numbers now anyway. It really depends how your brain works, to which way works for you. Kathy says, hi Rebecca. She says she is so proud of herself. She's not been able to use multi-placers very well before. She says, but this painting that she's doing has a lot of blocking. So she found the thin plastic placer that she has from Diamond Art Club. And it worked great. She said she's so happy because she was starting to get bored of the painting. And that can be the case with a painting. It's not that you don't love the image. It's not that you don't love the process of diamond painting. It's that sometimes you can just hit that middle spot and you can't see the end, but it's not new and fresh. And whether that be due to, you know, lots of, for example, lots of colour blocking, or indeed lots of confetti. Lots of confetti can get tedious, as much as lots of colour blocking can do. It really depends how long you've been doing it for and what your last painting was. So I'm happy that you found that satisfaction in the multi-placer. And that's what I think I like. It can very much help me get through that little rut that you get in the middle of a painting. On this painting, it's making my whip and waffle a reasonable time for me to be able to keep the stamina up for the full 30 days of filming every day. But for my other painting that I've got kitted up, it's to keep the stamina up because it is a big painting, to make sure that I can complete it. And I can't use it on every colour and every section, so I don't feel like I'm cheating too much. It just comes in waves when I feel like I Mysterious Days, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she is back to working on Cosmic Trip as she watches this. It's a good change of pace, she says, from doing lots of rounds lately. Again, she says she'll likely change back into a lot while it's completed. In other news, she says life has been a bit disappointing. Ooh. Hang on, let me change colours before I read the rest. Grab my number 7. She says she's been struggling to find the motivation to do her schoolwork. And now she's paying $23.99 a month for something that she barely touches. There is science and math left. She says both of them are subjects which she finds difficult. Sorry, I'm just switching again. Both of them are subjects that she finds difficult, so it's demotivating, and she is finding it easier to avoid it rather than to attempt it. She says, is there any tips for helping when motivation is low? She says she's been trying to get her GED since 2019. And having 2 tests completed and passed is huge, but she doesn't want to stop there. She said not that she knows what she's doing afterwards, as a few other types of schooling have sparked her interest, and she is trying to decide what is right. So that's partially why she's struggling, but still she definitely needs to be better about it. Right, my motivation for you, Janet, is 2 things. 1, you need to book a test. I know with your others you have waited till you were ready and you have booked them, and then you have absolutely aced them. So you need, with you leaving the harder ones and not sort of, you know, not looking forward to them, which I get. I enjoy maths, but I get it with science. So I get your feelings behind that one. But you need to give yourself a deadline, so that forces you to work through it. And then the other thing is you need to find something or someone to help motivate you through the study and the last bit. And then you need to take the test, and don't expect to do as well as the other subjects because you don't enjoy it as much. But a pass is a pass. So you take a pass and you run with it and you work your hardest you can towards a pass. And if a pass is not what comes out from that exam, then you book another one straight away. Or as soon as you can, like not necessarily like book one for the next day, but get one booked in and then go over and take that test that you may have done as a practice run. But I think you need to book one in because then you've got something that will make you work for it because you've got it. But don't fear the potential failure because it's not failure, it's a practice run. I hope that makes sense. But you absolutely aced the others and you didn't have the confidence in yourself for the others. So I am of the firm belief from the conversations and the rundown that we've had from you over the last few weeks that you will do so much better than you believe you will. And therefore, that's why I think you should book it. And I think you will come out with a pass. But to get that motivation, especially after going so long and then hitting what is your worst subjects, you just need to get them booked. Because at high school, they don't give you that option. You've also got to think. At high school, you don't necessarily get that option of when they're going to be taken. They're taken at the end of the year. So stop giving yourself options that others don't have, and use that as your driving force, the same way kids at school use it as their driving force, if that makes sense. Get it booked, woman. Get it booked. You will be absolutely amazing. I know you will. Anyway, that is my section done for today. I love it when it sort of comes back on it a bit, because now I can see little like pencil pots, and I think that's a pair of scissors. And yeah, you just sort of see stuff starting to appear, and this painting starting to appear. So absolutely fantastic. Looks like we are going up to the tippy top. So at least I will be able to keep my trays on the either side of my desk for the next one. But yeah, I will be back tomorrow with reading comments, etc. I do actually still have quite a few to go through on previous waffles, but I will get to the ones left from the first as soon as I can. Yeah, so, but thank you all so much for being here and for joining me, and I'll speak to you all again tomorrow.